took a much needed break to focus on the puppies and to take a little family vacation with my husband and the puppies. And I'm really glad I did that. And it was a really interesting exercise for me, I guess, in, I don't know, just like going a little easier on myself and giving myself permission to take a minute away from this and just, follow what was right in the moment. And why is that so hard to do? It's really hard for some people, me being one of those people. I feel like I have lived in so many ways such a structured, rigid life in terms of my approach to my work for so long that it felt kind of liberating to test the waters of my own comfort or discomfort, really, in not having, a structured way that I'm always going to do this. I don't know. I guess I've always found some sense of comfort in structure, and I still do. I'm me, but I'm really trying to push back against that and just kind of see how much I can kind of stretch it and how much permission I can give myself to be a little bit more go with the flow. And anyway, I've been trying it and nothing devastating happened. The world didn't end because I didn't release a new podcast episode. And also, I genuinely have no idea how long I will do this for. I don't know. It's just something I started and felt like doing, and so I'm doing it. And when it no longer feels right, I will discontinue. Simple as that. Which actually is kind of what I wanted to talk about today anyway, is just the idea of how to give yourself permission to listen to your own inner guidance and know when it's time to make a change or a shift in your life. I think that's such a struggle for so many people. It has definitely been a struggle for me many, many times in my 42 years. And I think it's natural, right? Because especially if you're someone who is responsible and accountable and you just want to do a good job at whatever it is that you're doing, and maybe you're a people pleaser like me, or just someone who has a really strong sense of loyalty to a people or a situation or a job or whatever it is. And when it starts to feel like you're getting that itch or you're getting that intuition of, oh, I really need to make a change, I think most of us initially resist that feeling because it feels scary. And it feels, to some of us, to me, I have definitely had times where I feel like, oh, well, I'm not allowed to do that. That would be letting somebody else down or another situation down or whatever. And I don't want to do that. I want to be a good person and I want to hold up my end of the bargain. So I'm not allowed to change, that might be some version of the self-talk that goes on. And I don't know, I just feel like it helps to hear people talk about it maybe and remind each other that we all experience that. And it's not always the truth, those parts of our own mind that talk us out of making changes that we feel really intuitively inclined towards. And the fear that comes up feels like it's protecting us, like it's saving us from making some huge mistake that we'll never bounce back from and our life will be ruined. That's what it feels like. But a lot of the time, that's just simply not true. It's just a knee-jerk reaction. It's just the result of a really deep-rooted pattern that we've been playing out for several years. And now there's this deep groove, this highway in our mind where our thoughts go naturally. And familiarity feels like safety and comfort to a lot of us. And so we think it is. And we convince ourselves that that is the quote unquote right choice to make at all times. It's the choice that doesn't rock the boat. And basically, I'm just here to throw a wrench in that. And like for anybody that needs a wake-up call of someone to scream with a megaphone and just be like, that's not true. It's not always true. That's just your conditioning talking. And most of the time, it's somebody else's voice in your head that you've now adopted as your own thought. But you don't have to listen to that voice. You don't have to. I'm just here to do that for you today, okay? Because I do it for myself all the time. It's like I'm two different people. I'm like the real, true version of me that dreams really big and wants to do all the things. And then the practical, grounded, kind of mean, rigid part of me that's like, girl, pick something and stick with it. Commit. And I mean, I do believe that there is something noble about committing and applying yourself. And I've done it. I've done it so many times, okay? Like I have done it. I know the value of it. But I also know that when things have run their course, there is an intuitive part of us that knows. We know when something is over or when it is no longer serving us. I really believe that. I really believe that some part of us always knows and has that information. And if we feel like we don't have it, I would say that's because we've spent many years diminishing and quieting and ignoring that part of ourself that is talking to us. So much so that maybe we don't hear it. You know, maybe we have the mute button on and it's taped down so hard that we genuinely don't hear it. But it is talking to you. It is always there and it is always available if you give it a seat at the table. So I would say if you are one of those people right now who is thinking that and feels like I don't hear that part of myself, well, now you know what step one is. Step one of your homework is to get to know yourself and open the door, take the mute button off, whatever visual you want to give. Give yourself a chance to speak and be heard. And consider what you're telling yourself or what your body is telling you or what your higher self is telling you. I mean, that's really what it is. It's connection to your higher self, your soul self, the essence of who you really are. And if you haven't made that connection to your real self yet, if you haven't even begun that work, what are you waiting for? It's not too late. It's never too late, actually. It's never too late to start making that connection. And I promise you, it is worth it to do. Because when you do that, you can hear it speaking to you. You can hear that intuitive, all-knowing essence of you coming through and saying, hey, psst, psst, this isn't really serving our evolution at this point. I know it seems comfortable, but we will remain the same. And we didn't come here to remain the same. We came here to grow and evolve and be better. And it's going to be impossible to do if you stay right here. But if you just come with me and we go down this other road that it's a little dark, there's no lights, and it is a little bumpy. And I'll be honest, some parts of the forest alongside the road are going to be full of demons from your past coming and trying to haunt you. But it's okay because we just won't listen to them. And we'll just acknowledge them and we'll say, yeah. Thank you for your service. And then we'll just keep moving. And eventually there will be a road that shows up and a new path that we can take. And we'll be able to flex our resilience muscles and like see how brave we can be at this new stage in our life. And eventually we'll find ourselves in a whole new life that is designed by us, that we actually love, where we can just be ourselves and we don't actually have to pretend to be anything other than who we are. Wouldn't that be nice? Follow me. Every time I have trusted myself enough to listen to the wisdom and guidance of my higher self, it has 100,000% always been worth it. Worth the struggle that it took to respond in a way that honored the wisdom of what that higher self is asking me to do. And it has also absolutely 100,000% been incredibly uncomfortable in the act of doing it initially, like to just start it, you know? And that is not a symptom of it being wrong. That's just what it is, That's just the way that it feels when the butterfly's wings keep hitting the cocoon before it breaks out, It's like, it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable. And I think a really big part of maturing emotionally is expanding and building your capacity to hold discomfort in your body, being accepting of it, like being willing to feel it, just like when you're working out or something, if you're trying to get gains in your legs or whatever, and you're doing a lot of jump squats and heavy weights and all these things, like it hurts. Like the act of doing the exercise doesn't feel great. It's not necessarily enjoyable unless you're a psycho like me and eventually you start to love the burn. But yeah, I mean, it's uncomfortable, but it's a part of the process. And when you are very clear about the fact that pain or whatever that discomfort is part of the process and it's going to get you the end result that you want, a lot of us are more willing to weather that, right? And to go through that because we're like, well, there's going to be a payoff. But I think when you're at a point in your life where you're making a really big change and you're essentially leaping into the unknown in a situation that you don't necessarily have control over or have a real clear picture of how it's going to play out or when the end of that hard time is going to be, like you don't really know how long it's going to take to get to a part where you can look back and go like, oh, okay, yeah, it was worth it. And because we don't know, that unknown discomfort is like really unbearable for a lot of people. And that's why not everybody is living their best life. I mean, that's just the hard, cold truth about it. Not everyone is willing to do what it takes to A, get to know themselves, like really get to know themselves, and B, to take responsibility for your life and be accountable to yourself and recognize that you're the one in the driver's seat and to make the necessary changes, to put yourself in a position where you can be living more truthfully and be more fully yourself in a life that you love, in a way that brings you joy and satisfaction. And again, I don't mean all the time, like that's idealistic and not realistic. I'm not talking about false illusions of like an easy life where nothing is ever hard. That's not what I'm talking about at all. I'm talking about getting to a point where you continually make choices based on your higher self's guidance and recognizing when you have learned your lesson and when a certain situation has served its purpose and taught you what you need to know, and when you're ready for the next lesson and when you're ready to level up, if you will. Like that's kind of how I think about it. I grew up playing video games, so everything about life to me is kind of in a way a movie or a video game, and I think about it that way. And it helps me, thinking about it that way helps me have fun with it, I guess, a little bit, it like makes it feel a little bit more like an adventure or something. And that helps me take it a little less seriously, I guess. And it helps me feel like, okay, I am like my own hero. I am on my hero's journey, and this is a part of it. There's going to be obstacles. There's going to be new people that come in, and there's going to be, just twists and turns and moments where I have to make really hard choices and realign and remember who I am in the process of becoming who I want to be, which really is just the deepest, fullest, most embodied version of me, whatever that is. Because I believe, I really, really believe that is what we're here to do. And maybe it's not. Maybe it's not what everyone's here to do. It's what I'm here to do. I feel pretty certain about that. Like, to me, that's the most essential ingredient into the process of me becoming my best self. to be brave and boldly authentic and accepting of myself, and to allow that higher voice part of me to speak to me and to listen to it and let it guide me, and to throw my hands up in the air and let Jesus take the wheel and not try to control everything, and trust, like really trust that whatever is for me will not miss me. And that as long as I am living in that kind of alignment with my truth, which is just always taking the next right step, and loving myself and honoring myself and my personal set of values, and letting those lead the way, I feel like if I can live like that, then whatever I choose to do with my life, as long as I do it from that place, I will be serving myself to the best of my ability. I will be serving my personal development and evolution as a soul to the best of my ability if I do it from that place. And in doing so, I believe I will also be offering my greatest service to the world around me. Like, I had this vision the other day. Oh my gosh. I'm like kind of embarrassed sharing this, but I'm going to share it. I had this thought about how it's like a little bit Inside Out. If you ever saw that movie, you know how there's like the core memories, and they're these little glass like ball orbs or whatever that they put into this big kind of, I don't know, grid of life. But I picture like this, I picture this really intense light beam that exists in the center of the universe or something. I don't know where it exists, but to me, it's the culmination of all living things' purest essence. Stay with me. So I picture this like let's imagine that it's like a tower, right? That there's like some place where there's almost like a holographic, thing that's like coming out of the ground or something. But it's just this big giant light beam that is shooting out into existence. And I'm talking about like across dimensions of existence. And I know you're probably like, what are you talking about? But just stay with me. I picture that we all individually are a part of this light, which to me is consciousness. I'm just going to say that, right? Like I think that there is a core consciousness. Some people would call it Christ consciousness. I don't know. But to me, it's this like sacred, where we come from, where we're going, what it really is all about, purity of love and consciousness of energy that embodies all of it, not just love necessarily, but really all of it, like the thunder and the rain and the sun. Again, stay with me, please. It's hard for me to vocalize what I'm trying to say here. Okay, so I picture that there's like this core ball, if you will, that we are all from, or that we're all a piece of, really. And that our purpose is to add our light to that ball or to that light beam, or however you want to picture it. But the way that I was picturing it, to get back to that, was that we're all responsible for carrying our own glowing ball of light, and that light is the pure essence of who we are as a soul and as a part of the greater whole. And almost like, okay, I just had this thought. Okay, again, this is so bizarre. If you ever saw the movie The Santa Claus, I think it was The Santa Claus, that movie with Tim Allen where he's Santa Claus. There's like some, or no, it wasn't The Santa Claus. Oh my God. It was Elf. It's Elf. It's the movie Elf. You know how like Santa is like, oh, the sleigh can't fly anymore. Like there's no power to the sleigh anymore because it runs on people believing in Christmas and in Santa. Okay, so it's kind of like that, like where I picture that it is our job to dig inside ourselves and find and make friends with and understand and unearth out of ourselves the purest parts of us and the purest essence of who we are, and to give that back to the light beam that we all came from, like to bring it back home essentially, so that it can then power the grid or the matrix of existence. Oh God, I know. To to put everything in its right place. Oh my God, it's literally me picturing like a kid putting their toys back in the toy box, and like that is really funny. Oh my gosh. Did that make any sense at all? I feel like I did not do that justice. I might have to stop and start over and try to express that again. But I also kind of just want to leave it as it is and let it be flawed, because I think it's going to take me time to develop this idea fully in a way that I can like concisely express it. So if you even are here and you're listening, I just appreciate you kind of bearing with me while I try to form this thought. But really, basically, the image that I was trying to portray is that I picture us like holding this ball of light that is our essence, and us needing to pull it out of ourselves and hold it and love it and cherish it, because we're the only one that can put that one little part of the cog back into the machine of the whole consciousness. You know, like we're all the only ones who can do that. And ideally, we would all be able to do that, and we would all come back to the whole and come back to the center and realize that we are all exactly the same, like that we are all one. We are all facets of the same thing. We're just coming from a different angle, and there's just billions of different angles in this thing. Consciousness. I don't know. I don't know what other word to use other than that, because that's what it feels like it is. Anyway, so yeah, no big deal. I just feel like that's what we're here to do. It's like a really important job. And I would like to do my part, and I'm trying to do my part. And I think of it that way. Whether I'm right or not, it doesn't really matter. The point that I'm trying to express here is that is kind of a adventuristic, movie-like kind of way maybe of viewing human existence. And that works for me because it excites me and it makes me feel motivated to do my part and to feel less guilty about taking time to dig within. Sometimes I think people don't take the time to work on themselves or get to know themselves because it's very time consuming, number one. And it feels a little like selfish or egotistical sometimes. I mean, I know for me, I've had struggles with wondering like, oh my God, am I spending way too much time analyzing myself? Like, is this even healthy? I think I said that last time, actually. So, it is a struggle to do it. But I feel like for some of us, it is really sacred work to do, and that it actually isn't selfish, because it's like when you're on a plane and they tell you to put on your oxygen mask before assisting others. Like, I want to assist others. And I know that the only way I can do that is by assisting myself first and getting really clear and understanding the grand scope of the whole thing. And hopefully, if I can express myself clearly enough, I can, help in some way. I can help be an example of just one other person, just one other speck of dust in this giant thing that is trying to do their part. And maybe it would inspire you to do something differently in your life, to try to do your part. I don't know. Wouldn't that be great? That would make me feel really good about it, honestly, because otherwise, what am I doing here? Anyway, the point I was trying to make is just that I feel like those of us who are willing to do the hard thing and listen to the guidance of our higher selves and make the changes when necessary, I feel like we're kind of the warriors of the world, like we're brave souls. And to me, it's like we're really squeezing all the juice out of the lemon while we're here, like to me, that's what that is. It's like really making the most of this life and just getting as much out of it as we can. I don't know. That's what it feels like to me. And I also think the more that we are willing to do that kind of work and live from that kind of an integrity place, I think it makes us better equipped, really, to handle life's hardships and tragedies and failures and setbacks, because we're able to see the big picture. We're able to not always default to a victim mentality of feeling like, oh, why did this happen to me? Instead, it's like, oh, why is this happening? And what is my contribution to that? And what can I do about it? And how can I use this? How can I use this lesson that I just learned? And how can I use this newfound wisdom that I have gained from this hard thing? And how can I alchemize it and turn it into something powerful? A powerful next step on my journey. I think that's the great thing about getting older and living longer, is that you just keep building up your XP points. You get more experience and more practice doing the hard things. And even though they're still hard every time, you have more capacity to feel the hardship and to weather it, because you know that eventually it will get easier. And I guess I think that's where learning how to trust yourself comes in. It's like, if you don't trust yourself yet at this stage in your life, number one, have some grace for yourself for that and some compassion. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with you. That's just where you're at right now. And you can change that right now, today. You can start listening to yourself and following your own instructions and seeing how it works out. And when you get to these next levels of life where you've kind of gone through this hardship and this really hard time, but gotten to the other side and gotten to somewhere better, that's what builds trust with yourself. Every time you prove to yourself that you can withstand hardship, and that you can be brave, and that you can do the thing, which the only way you can find out is by doing it and trying, right? That's really what I'm trying to say. Every time you do that, you build more trust with yourself. And when you can trust yourself, you can do a lot of things. You can do a lot of things. And you can break your trust and have to re-earn it. I mean, it's not like you earn your trust and then it just sticks around. It's like anything. Nobody else can figure that out for you. It's a internal, very private thing that only we get to do with ourselves. And if you haven't exercised that muscle yet, well, there's no time like the present. Amazing things can happen when you do it, I promise you. And I also promise you that even if you have done it, it's still hard. And I'm sorry, but it does still end up being hard to do over and over, because, there's just always another level. It's like you beat the level and then there's another level that comes as long as you're alive. There's no like, oh, and now I just hit cruise control and everything's easy and nothing's hard for me anymore. And I know what to do all the time and I make all the right choices and everybody loves me. Your relationship with yourself is no different than a relationship with other people. It takes nurturing. It takes give and take. It takes patience and a lot of grace and forgiveness. But it's beautiful work. And I guess I've been thinking about all of this lately because I am currently treading the waters of uncertainty in my life. And I have been it feels like a really long time, like years now. A couple of years since I made a really big career pivot. And I'm still finding my way. It's getting easier, and then sometimes it gets harder. It's like one step forward, two steps back. It's all of it. And I've definitely cried, and I've had moments that feel like a crisis. I've felt like I was depressed. I've felt all of the hard things, but I'm still here. I'm still here. And I'm really proud of myself for that. I mean, I have talked myself out of doing this podcast a million times. Even earlier today, before I came down here to record, I was like, yeah, but why? Why are you doing that? Nobody wants to hear what you have to say. And like, who are you, you know? And it worked for a couple of hours. I was stunted and I organized my refrigerator instead. You know, anything but this, anything but facing the discomfort of showing up here. But somehow, eventually, I made it down here to the studio and I hit record and started talking. And so now I trust myself a little bit more because I held myself to my own standards of facing the fear and doing it anyway. And I guess that's why I feel like I have to remind us all that this isn't easy to do. It's not like every day you can live in that space effortlessly, or at least I can't. Maybe you can. And if you can, please teach me your ways. But for me, like I still fall off the track and slip into old patterns and doubt myself and beat myself up and resist change and you know, live in a fear space. That happens to me all the time. But instead of allowing it to consume me, I just observe it. I'm just aware that it's there. I accept it. I let it have its say. And when I feel strong enough and grounded enough to make a choice and do something about it, I come back to this kind of thinking. And I remind myself that I'm at the beginning stages. It's like I've had so many times in my life and in my career where I've gone through all these cycles, right, of starting something new and then kind of figuring it out and like maybe not being great at it and then getting better. And all of a sudden, whoa, I'm kind of good at this. Whoa, this is really working out. Everything's great right now. And it feels like everything's going to be great forever. And then it isn't, you know, like something else happens in life that gives you a setback, or maybe I just get bored. I don't know. But my point is, I think it's very natural for us to go through cycles like that many times in our life. And when I remember that, it's easier for me to accept where I am right now today. Because where I am right now today was a choice. I made a very grounded choice to follow my intuition and make a change in my life. And so I am willing to accept the uncertainty of this moment and how hard it is right now and all of it, because I know someday I'm going to look back at this time in my life and be really proud of myself for walking into the fire and having faith in myself and knowing that I can get me out hand in hand with the universe and God or whoever, however you want to look at it. I have faith. I have faith in the greater purpose of all of it and my tiny, tiny, minuscule part in all of it. I just want to play my role to the best of my ability. And this is a part of that. And so I accept that. And I guess I just wanted to share that today because, I don't know, I feel like maybe it's helpful for someone to hear. And you know, sometimes I think I feel like, I don't know, like when I first started this podcast or had the idea of doing it, I felt like I wanted to help people with music industry stuff. And I wanted to like be able to give advice and share knowledge that I have. And I still want to do that. But the truth is, it's like I'm a work in progress, like we all are. And I think what feels more of integrity to me is to allow you to hear what it's like in the process of figuring it out, as opposed to being like, oh, I figured all of these things out and this is how I did it. You know, like I could do that with some stuff, but that's not the stage of my life that I'm in right now. I'm in a whole new phase. I'm in the uncertain phase. I'm in the scary part. I'm in the rewriting my story part. I'm in the figuring it out part. And I feel like not enough light gets shown on that part of people's journey. We always show the highlight reel and the comeback stories and all that. And those are great. And I love those. And those are like the dangling carrot at the end of the road that keep us all going. So they're certainly serving their purpose. But I think it's discouraging for a lot of people because we hear success stories, and because we're at such an early stage, or maybe we haven't even started yet at listening to ourselves and following our own impulses and intuitions and whatever, it feels so far out of reach because no one can really give us a guidebook of how it's going to go. And I'm not saying that I can. I certainly can't. But I can show you, and I can open up and share with you what my process is like right now today while I'm in the middle of figuring my shit out. And maybe you'll be able to relate to it. And maybe it'll help you to feel a little bit less scared of doing that yourself. I don't know. That's where my head's at nowadays, is what I'm trying to say. And so, yeah, I don't really know what that means for this podcast or how it turns out or what it becomes. I really don't know. And I'm finally okay with the fact that I don't know after giving myself a real hard time all summer. Feeling like, oh yeah, by the end of the summer, I'll totally have figured this out. Well, I haven't. But I'm not going anywhere yet. I can't promise how long I'll stay here. I don't know. But I'm still here today, and that's something. And yeah, I really have to go eat something. I haven't eaten dinner, and it's 9:00. That's not good self-care. So thank you for listening. I hope there's some value you can take from something that I said today. Okay. I'm going to go now. I will talk to you another time. Can't really say when, but you'll find out. Okay, bye. Is anybody listening?